actually.
I love when we start a podcast with laugh. It's my favorite thing.
It's like, what did the listener miss out on?
Right.
I know.
Here we are. We're on. We're rolling.
Are we rolling
You guys
right
were
now?
looking at me like we're supposed to be talking. It's Two Michelle's
One question.
podcast. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
for having us.
Very happy to be here back in LAV.
I know, Tommy, you.
Can we not say LAV because this is your podcast?
Well, that's okay. We're in the LAV studios, the WLAV
okay.
Classic Rock
So I'm
Studios.
back in the studio.
Yeah. Now, Tommy worked at LAV years ago. We've got first Tommy and Doug. Explain your position. Wait.
Yes.
Tell us who you are, Doug.
Currently in a chair.
Right.
I'm seated.
Average height. No, so I am the board president for the Grand Rapids LGBTQ Healthcare Consortium.
Okay.
So
And Tommy, you are.
I am I work at Rapid Growth Media, so I'm the publisher and I'm a writer, a journalist, but I also am a volunteer in the community, and I've worked within the queer space for a long time now. I mean, kind of by necessity. I mean, if you're a woman, you're going to work on women's issues. I would think.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to work on queer issues. So I've been working as a volunteer with various groups, including the consortium.
And Tommy's one of those people, Michelle, who he's just kind of everywhere. Oh my God.
I know
there's-
because
there's
I
Tommy.
see him
And
everywhere.
here's the secret: I got cloned early, so it wasn't just Dolly the sheep.
Oh,
It's
lucky
Tommy
you.
and me.
Man,
It's
where
Tommy
can I
the
get in
me.
line for that?
It's the queer
cloning?
clone,
It
which
comes
I
with
like.
trade-offs.
right.
It comes
clone,
with
yeah.
trade-offs.
Yeah, I can't reproduce. That's not in
Tommy,
the cards.
There's nothing wrong with that. I want
I
to
was
kill
going
my
to say,
son most
man,
days. I want to kill
like
mine.
I one and done. Hi.
Oh
We're good.
boy, same. You guys are here. We usually ask a question every day. Every podcast we ask a different question. But Tommy, you have a history. You've worked on radio before.
Absolutely. My first job in media actually was working for WLAV. I worked for Denny Schaefer, who was your former partner, I think, when you guys were at
Mhm.
My
GRD.
goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we met through phone calls in the morning often because you would call over to the station and then in those days, we didn't have the internet. We had the wire or
Yeah,
the satellite that
the
would come
AP.
down.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
if you didn't come in at 4:30 and record the bits that they were going to send you, you had to write bits that day. And I'll tell you what, without the internet, and this is 92 or 90, I think I was doing this around then. In that moment, we had USA Today. That was it. So if we didn't have
Yeah.
USA Today delivered that morning because
Yeah.
of snowstorm, let's say, you had nothing to talk
Screwed.
about. You had to make up shit.
Screwed.
Make up stuff.
You
Sorry.
can
can
say
swear.
shit. We're
Okay.
not on the radio.
This is not a family program.
Doug is like, we have 20 minutes
I
to
know.
talk about.
I'm here
Yeah, if
for
we
a
let Tommy
reason.
go, we're
Yeah.
not going to get my question at all.
So it was comedy is
So,
what we started. And
As I
actually,
said,
one of my first jokes
Here he
was about
goes.
a female condom. And Denny goes, "What does it look like?" I go, "Well, first glance, it looks like a giant pool liner." I mean, so we were writing jokes of
love it.
emerging things about sexuality back then. So
See?
I'm well versed about sex.
Yeah, I
Well, good. I'm glad
does
we had the
not
experts.
surprise me, and I don't mean that. I mean that as a compliment.
I know it was
I think.
WLAV. It's rock and roll. It should be a little bit edgy,
That
right?
was very,
Yeah.
we did. We talked
Radio
a lot
so
of
rock and roll.
sex, drugs, rock and roll. People were doing lines off other people's asses. It was a thing.
Yeah,
Well, that wasn't a part of my
Yeah,
experience.
no, me neither. I just
Because
watched.
Jenny did not have a great ass for doing coke.
No,
off of,
oh my
sorry.
God.
I don't.
Poor Doug is like, I came here to do the question today, which is interesting.
I did prep him though that he should be
Because-
prepared.
Because
I
it's-
said he's going to have fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna all turn on
it's
you. at
just
some
it's
point.
just getting him to stop talking. That's
Oh,
the challenge.
Doug, what is it that you guys do?
So the Grand Rapids LGBTQ Healthcare Consortium, we are really a collective. We started as initially a group of local nonprofits that, a lot of them were doing their own thing, and LGBTQ people were on the side. And so we really needed this central space. So we initially started as a group. We became a 501c3 in 2020, and we've really evolved since then. And so we're really ensuring that we're closing gaps and removing barriers for LGBTQ people throughout West Michigan in accessing competent healthcare and healthcare services.
Man, thank you. Thank you for doing that work. So we got to get to our question.
A question.
How did you learn about sex?
Oh,
As a
Is our-
shot, yeah.
As a
How-
child? Do you remember this?
Michelle, you're going first. You
Okay.
go first.
Okay. Well, and I am not young, so sex was still like very taboo, and I feel like it still is. Like I feel like people don't want to talk about it, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's happening everywhere. Like hi, Jeffrey Epstein. Like we have to talk about sex because stuff like that happens. But I I learned most of it at school, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
through
Really?
everybody talking. But then my parents, I remember them vividly giving me this book. I was probably like 12, like way past. They're like, oh, this
12.
book with like cartoon characters, like, oh, you're going to grow hair. Oh, you're going to grow breasts. Like, oh, this, and you're going to get these weird feelings. And I'm like, what is this bullshit? But like, I had to teach myself how to use a tampon. Like, I mean, so it's like, I was not getting that explanation of anything,
Yeah.
really, right? Like it was kind of like trial by error. I mean,
Wow.
you know, and school, I mean, school did a decent job. And, my parents signed off so you can go to sex ed. And
You had sex ed in school?
yes.
Back
So it
then?
wasn't
Okay.
a Catholic school.
I went to public school. I'm a public
I went to
school
all
kid.
Catholic.
Went to
So
Baptist.
yeah, so they did sex ed, and I, safe, don't have sex, and if you do, have safe sex, and and growing up through the AIDS epidemic as well, right? Then you're terrified, and you're like, oh my gosh, and so
Right.
yeah, I didn't have a ton of sex as a kid,
Well,
as a young
That's probably
person.
good. I mean, we're probably as a young person.
as a 12-year-old, let's remember this.
Yeah.
I got my boobs. I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Growing hair, yeah, I'm like, right. I learned how to use a tampon, and then decided.
Wow.
Off and running.
It's funny when you say tampon, this is funny. My son, he went to public schools and they did sex ed. And the day they did it, it was 4th grade. The day they did it, he gets in the back seat of my car and I'm driving him and I remember Northland Drive. We're driving down Northland Drive because he went to Rockford and I'm driving. And he said, Mom, yep, let's talk about it, Mace. And he goes, are you telling me that every month you guys bleed?
Oh God!
And
I
I
can only
go,
imagine.
Yep. And he goes, here's what he looks out the window. This is where the conversation ends. He goes, that sucks. Yes, it
He's
does.
an early
Don't you know
feminist.
it?
right?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm
Yes.
sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
he
know.
goes, that's and I go, yes, it does,
Empathy.
buddy. So you need be a little nicer to mom sometimes,
If you want to know what it really feels like too, getting,
Yeah.
like basically punched in the
They
gut.
punch in
for
the,
a
but
week.
no, but so but it is different. But I went to Catholic school. Tommy, you went to,
A Baptist school.
where did you, let's throw the question at
Well,
you.
I mean, the Baptist school was like, you will not have sex or you will
Yeah.
go to hell. So it's different
Same
than getting
thing.
AIDS at this point, and
Right.
that comes later because I was before AIDS in high school.
yeah.
So I would say really where I learned about it was my dad taught me when I already knew because I learned from the street essentially.
Yeah.
I had kids that went to public schools in my neighborhood.
From the
and
streets, bitch.
I got street sex. So
I'm in the streets.
street sex education, which
Yeah.
is not good either. because-
No.
And I think it's a good segment when we talk about Doug's stuff in a minute, why it's important that we talk about this topic. Because for me, when it finally did arrive, my dad had this Art Linkletter record. Now, Art Linkletter was his TV host. He was America's dad for a long time. Not like Milton Berle, who dressed up in drag, which is very
Right.
confusing.
Right.
Because look how we hate drag queens now, but
Flip
they all
Wilson.
watched them.
Flip Wilson, the Flip Wilson show.
Geraldine. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So, but for sex, for me, I already knew about it, but my dad felt he needed to because I was the oldest. So he brought this Linkletter album out, which is called Where Do I Come From?
Oh, Lord.
And he put
An
it on
album.
and he lays down on the bed and kicks back like, we're going to listen to some great recording of Montevandi's greatest hits or something. It was the 70s. And I had to listen to this and it bugged me so bad how bad the production was, but also the stuff they were talking about because it was made for your dad to listen with you. So, it's not like too clinical, really.
Right.
And next thing I know, I can't take it. And I thought the only way I can get out of this is if I turn the speed from 32 RPM to 45. So it sounded like the Chipmunks, which made it entertaining for me. So I learned about sex, I would say, from the Chipmunks.
All right.
God.
And then you put this here and you put that
And
there.
that's how I
and you
have
do
sex now. I sound like a chipmunk having sex. I can't help it.
this. He has sex in 45 and speak much faster than the average.
Yeah, some people do 13 minutes. I'm done in like 7
But that's how you,
seconds. Wait a minute.
I mean, you gotta be efficient, right?
Anyways,
I will tell you, going to Catholic schools, there was no sex education. You didn't have premarital sex. You didn't talk about sex. You didn't talk about periods, nothing, no health class, nothing. Here's my sex talk from my mother, which, by the way, I never even knew about periods. And I told her sisters, they didn't even talk to me about it. I was at Mr. Caldwell's science class in 7th grade, white painter pants, which were cool.
Oh.
And of course, thank God, 2 words, Kelly Swan. She's the one, she got boobs before all of us. She smoked cigarettes and her boyfriend was like, had a beard, like picked her up in a car, like in 7th grade. Like she knew
he
sex.
got his hair.
She knew sex and she explained to me all about periods. But so she was who we talked to about stuff. And yeah, she was great. But my mom, here was my sex talk. We're laying around a pool because I was a swimmer. And she read Ann Landers to me in the Ann Landers article. Guys know Dear Abby, Ann Landers.
Yeah.
And it was about my daughter is 16 and she's pregnant and I don't know what to do. And she goes, isn't that awful? And shut the newspaper and walked in the house. And that was my sex talk.
Wow.
There was no, my mom too was raised Catholic, Italian Catholic. You didn't talk about,
Yeah.
she had 5 kids at age 27. She had to go to the priest to be, she had varicose veins so bad from having babies so much, to be on any kind of birth control pill, which would help her veins, which was a medicine.
Right.
The priest had to absolve her
OMG.
to go do it. She had to come with the paper. It was a whole thing. So,
Wow.
so yeah, I didn't learn. And then, of course, you learn. And then, I was overweight. I was insecure. So you learn the hard way from boys and from,
Right?
about sex.
God, don't let boys teach you about
So
sex.
how about the young one here? I think
Yeah,
Doug
right?
probably-
I know,
Doug
Doug.
has a
How did you
perspective.
You had a
learn?
better
Was
education.
it porn?
Yeah.
So
no.
I had the 4th grade and 5th grade was the puberty conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the hair.
With your parents or in,
No,
school, in
school.
health class?
Granville Public,
Okay.
local. I grew up around here. We were in a Catholic church though. So, I had that conflicting message from them.
Yep.
And then I remember my dad taking me for a drive and he didn't really talk about it. He brought it up and then we changed topics.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no. And
no.
yeah. I was
And
like,
how
no,
old were you
I'm good.
ish?
That was, that was probably between 5th and 6th grade.
Okay.
And 6th
So-
grade is really the first time that I remember hearing about gays and sex. If you remember that it wasn't a conversation around, LGBTQ and identity
No.
or anything. It was Magic Johnson has AIDS. And if you're gay, that's what you're going to get. And so it was one of those where I kind of went up looking through that. I was also deep in the closet at that time.
Yeah, because when your
So-
dad gave you the talk, it was probably, here's what men do with women.
Right.
Yeah.
There was no women
Yeah.
with women. We didn't know. What?
Yep.
No.
You want to put it where?
Yeah. My
No.
first experience, I had a gay roommate in college, Lynn, and I remember bringing her home for a weekend, and I didn't tell my parents until after she left. I'm like, my mom went, no. Like, what? Like, no. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God. Like, it was so, you just never.
right?
This was in the 80s. You never talked about it. So
Yeah.
your dad takes you for a drive and you're
Yeah.
like, gross.
Said
No.
no.
Yeah. He like brought it up and I was just like, I'm good. And he showed me what a condom was. And I'm like, I never want to see this again. Like, especially coming from you.
Thank you. No
And,
way.
It was that awkward. I'm also the oldest. I'm
Yeah.
the oldest of the 4 kids. And then I'm also the oldest grandchild.
Same.
And so, like,
yeah.
It was
Oh.
a first for a lot of people. And then being deep in the closet, everyone was always asking about girls. And so I was
Oh,
also very conflicted on that. As we went into high school, my mom would always kind of make jokes because I had a lot of female friends because I'm gay and
Yeah.
was deep in the closet. And so, so she would say when we would go for a drive,
Girls are more
one of our
fun.
friends would drive, she would always say, the one rule is no roadhead. And she literally every time,
Who said this?
my mother.
Your mom. First
Yeah.
of all, I kind of like your
That-
mom. And I'm also kind of.
that she was she saying that you shouldn't give it or you
Yeah,
shouldn't
get
get it?
it.
I mean, at that point, it was don't get it.
Valid
Or you'll get in an accident.
She's worried about your drive. That's also a driver's ed thing. Like I
It's
don't
not a
know.
question,
Yeah,
you know.
don't be
Messages.
I
distracted.
think Terry Lynn Land was our Secretary of State or whatever, or in charge of all that. I think that was one of her questions.
No
right?
roadhead. Yeah, she
Yeah,
was
She said no
multitasking.
roadhead.
How to
Right?
be safe, how to drive safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Stranger danger, all of the above.
Pretty
Right? Your mom
much,
was- She's
yeah.
a multitasker.
Man, we
you
don't
know?
even want to talk about
Right,
the things
right.
Rochelle did in her car. She
And-
clearly didn't get the
Oh
message.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
I did not get the message.
No, right? You're terrible towels.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Now, okay. So sometimes when I'm bored in a car, I used to when I drove back and forth when I worked in Detroit, I would drive there to do radio every day. I would say that I got bored and I would, I called it do myself a roadie, which roadie we know means drink, but I would be bored and just kind of like,
Right.
Wait, you didn't?
Right?
Yes.
Some people do a cup of coffee to stay awake. You just kind of
No,
like
I'd be
activate.
bored.
I mean,
and thank
long
God no
drive.
trucker was. So I
Did we
talked
talk
about
about appliances
They
yet
didn't
on
have-
this one?
They didn't have podcasts back then, so, right?
You just had your body.
my boss gave me a talk. You need to become more real. So that day when he gave me that, I went on the air. I was working in Detroit. I told that story we had Michelle McCormick roadie towels made up, and everybody wanted all these truckers.
There
We
you
gave
go.
away.
God.
That's
I
Pretty
need
great.
one.
So you would drive and
Well,
enjoy.
just maybe like a
I mean, what
couple-
happens? I mean, we're talking about health and sex here, so we're not shaming, but if it happens, it's dangerous because doesn't your
I
eyes
feel a
roll
little
back in
shame.
your head or
I
something?
feel a little shame.
You feel shame?
You're shaming me at this point, Mom.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
For
mean
being
to
a
shame you.
distracted
I didn't pull over.
driver.
No,
No, I'm
I
not
can-
saying you're. I'm saying you're probably really good at it.
I never even slowed down. I could put mascara on at the same
I was
time
gonna
and
say,
do
I
it.
can drive with no hands. I'm very good.
I should never let my partner
Everyone learns how to
Michael
drive with their knees. So
Yeah.
Never let my
Oh.
partner.
Well, because
Okay.
he always says I'm already multitasking too much. Let's not add this.
Okay. Oh my God, this is so funny. So, Doug, how is it that you help? How do you get how do people know about you? How do you educate? Are you able to, do you go into the schools? How does this work?
So we do not currently go into the schools. I mean, as we saw last week, the Department of Justice decided to investigate 2 of our local school districts because they said sexual orientation and gender identity. You know, heaven forbid
Right.
students get the education they need around sex.
I'm like the DOJ is
You know, I relied on Dr.
Sue
Sue and that late night show and having it down, volume all the way down.
She would
Wow.
just say masturbation.
Yeah.
And I would have to look
Oh,
up
yeah.
what that meant. Yeah.
And not to mention going into a confessional with a priest.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Lots of fun.
Wow, there's a
Uh,
lot of red flags that go up now.
Right?
Yeah, I was just gonna
I
say.
could go 20 ways.
Right?
Isn't
I
that-
know.
Yeah, the
Right?
oh, the-
Yeah.
God.
So
but-
how do we get to know about what you do? I mean,
So
how do you
we
educate?
have a website. It is grlgbtqhealthcareconsortium.org. We're working on it. But on there we have some toolkits, and we recently came out with our adolescent sexual health toolkit. You know, and a big piece of this is the fact that we are consistently not seeing the education that's needed in
Right.
actual educational workplaces or educational settings. And
Yeah.
so, you know, we have had parents reach out and say, my child has come out to me. I don't know where to start this conversation, or I don't know how to bring this up with their provider and ensure that they get what they need. And so we've developed this toolkit, and this is the 5th one we've developed,
Wow.
but this is our first one that is specific to adolescents. And so it's really for 12 to 24 is what we consider an adolescent. I'm sure there are 18 to 24-year-olds that are going to be mad about that.
I was
But,
gonna say,
you know.
oh, I'm such a hoe.
Say we
I'm
need to start
such a
talking about
tramp.
this
Right.
early.
Yeah, you do.
Like
You
these
do.
conversations need to start long before
Exactly.
they are. Yeah.
You know, and we are seeing this steady increase over the last 10, 15 years of STIs in this population, despite not being, you know, a fully sexually active group. And so it is something that within the toolkit, we have 3 separate paths, really. You know, one is if it is a kid that's logging in and, you know, even if it's in the middle of the night on their phone hiding from their parents, it's adolescent specific. And so they get to choose what they want to read about. Everything is evidence-based. We have our research, we have our citations there. If it is a parent, we have that parent and guardian, you know, how to bring up this conversation, even if it's an awkward one, what you need to say, what you need to do. And then we have for the healthcare providers, you know, if there is a provider.
That was my next question.
Yeah. And, you know, the one good thing is Michigan has minor consent laws. So anyone over the age of 13, they can give that consent and have that conversation, especially if they want their parents
Wow.
out of the room
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
something like that. And we actually provide resources as well in that provider toolkit around the legal implications. And, you know, if a parent is not supportive of their youth, how to gently move them out of the way, you know,
Yeah.
without, of course, you know, disrupting that relationship. But at the same time,
Oof.
these youth need to have this information. And so, you know,
Because you could save lives.
truly,
I mean, really,
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, especially as we're seeing-
emotionally,
I was going to say, right?
physically. I mean, all in all ways.
Well, and
That-
information is power in this
Yeah.
case. If you
Yeah.
think about how we all cobble together sex education, because it's always
that
being
conversation.
attacked. I mean, look at our experiences, and you're a parent. So,
Right.
and so with a young, I mean, in high school, right?
Exactly.
So did you have to have the conversation?
And I'd have, yes. And I wasn't necessarily great about it either. My mom incidentally started watching Bridgerton with her at 12. So she is very open. We have a very open relationship. So she asks me questions. We talk about it. We still watch Bridgerton.
your mom kind of.
And
your mom, yeah.
They're looking for the pinnacle.
Yeah.
she's wrapping her head around that. I'm like, yeah, you know, and kids are so different these days too. And I love that you have these resources because I feel like they're so very fluid. And I feel like, you know, they think about sex differently than we did. And I think that being able to have a safe space is so important. And, you know, and there's so many not safe spaces, and then that's sad.
It's amazing.
And this is life, man. We're all having sex, like everybody, most
Yeah.
of us, right?
Mhm.
And so
Sometimes, you know what? No, I'm get tired. I'm over it. I'm 60. I have done
For God's
it.
sake, I don't want to.
I'm tired. No, I'm kidding. It does change.
No,
By the
okay,
way,
but
it
if you're
changed. It gets
tired,
better.
I'm worried you need a refresher course. I brought a banana if you needed it. You know, and I brought some condoms. too.
That's
And-
Kelly
and
Swan
you
did
can
that.
put them on. This is how I learned in the 90s during anti-AIDS.
You really
and so-
did bring a banana.
So I brought a banana so that if you wanted to try and put it on, because you just said it's been a while, you know,
Yeah.
I thought maybe,
That is so funny.
you know, I'll leave it for here in case you're
Leave
hungry.
it.
In case
Yeah,
you're hungry later.
I am hungry. Doug,
But
how
use a
can we help? It's already been
Thank
20
you.
minutes. Look, it's already
I
been 20
know,
minutes.
I
Our time.
hate that it goes
you,
How
time
can we
goes.
find out? How can we help? What can we
Right?
do for
Parents,
you? What do you need?
educators,
Yeah.
kids, anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now it's really important that people are aware of what this resource is and that it's out there for help. You know,
And
I
it's
think
all on the website.
it's all
When you
online.
said packet, I pictured like this little box that you give them. Because in my day, that's what a packet
A
was.
toolkit.
But so, yeah, a toolkit. So
Yeah.
now they can actually go on the website. That's
Yes.
where the toolkit
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Yep. They can
And it's
actually
Easy.
user friendly, so you know what track you want to go
Yeah.
on. So if you want to go clinical, and why shouldn't a student, you know, who knows who the next Dr. Ruth is going to come from?
Yeah.
You know, it could come from West Michigan, it could be
Yeah.
New Haven, Michigan.
Right,
not
call
gonna
her
come from
dad
that.
for doing that.
No,
It's definitely not. Yeah.
No.
You know, and the other piece is that we're out there. We provide trainings. I gave a training this week to Catherine's Health Center. You know, and we really want to ensure that the clinicians out there do have this education. We are having a Healthcare Reimagined Health Conference on May 1st at GRCC. You know, if anyone is a clinician or social worker, they can sign up for that. Anyone can sign up, but they get continuing education units.
Yeah.
There's my pitch. But, you know, it is something that we really want to ensure that this education's out there. You know, it's all evidence-based. We have our citations. You know, we're willing to.
Yeah, you're credited. You got your light. You're good. You're good. You got your badge.
Absolutely.
You got your card carrying.
Exactly.
There you go.
We will put all of the info around this. Thanks you guys for coming
know,
in. Doesn't
and
this go quick?
Thanks for having
The
us.
beauty is
I'm really
anyone can
glad.
access this no matter where you are.
Anyone.
You don't have to be in GR. You can.
You
access
don't have to.
this.
I believe this. I think non-queer people should know this as
Absolutely.
well.
100%.
Absolutely. Well, because they have queer friends, or maybe in
Yeah,
high school
right.
you have friends that are coming out. I mean, students today are so much more fluid. We did a program called Voices of Youth, and we polled our students, and like a full third of them did not want to even identify with a
Thank
gender.
you.
And that's not about trans issue, but that's about they were saying as
Sex.
adults we have a
Mhm.
hard time processing it.
Yeah.
So they're on their way,
Right.
and they're moving into a future without us. I mean, we
Yeah.
won't be there when they finally
Yeah,
arrive where
yeah.
we are,
Yeah.
but they are starting to build
Better.
the future they want now. And so giving them access is knowledge that will help them navigate in the future.
What's great is that our toolkits, our previous toolkits, we can see where it's being accessed. We have so many people accessing this from Europe and Africa
Wow.
that, you know, we know that these tools are universal, that this
Yeah.
knowledge is not just
The
specific.
body is the body.
Exactly.
I mean,
Everybody will encounter a banana at some point.
okay. Oh my God. All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Sure,
you.
that banana has a
Truly.
condom on it. Thanks, Tommy.
Come back.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anytime.